And just a final adage, Piccadilly Circus up here. I've come up here, it's, what are we on today? 5th of January. It's a Thursday today, so everybody in Japan's back at work. I'm not back at work until Tuesday next week. So I've come up here just after lunchtime. It's about 1:30. Thinking you're on top of a mountain, you're in a deserted park, everybody's at work. Japan is back at work now. Been back at work since yesterday. And for the 15 minutes I've been up here, I've had to take the iPad off that table, off the stand, while people come here and eat their lunch. I don't know where people are coming from to come all the way up here to eat the lunch. I think they just wait. Oh, there he is. That fella's back again. That fella's back again to do his filming for his podcast. Let's go and fuck it up. Last time I come here, December last year, to film my intro and my outro, there were a fucking pensioner stood on the table that I'm filming from, looking out to sea with his arms outstretched, fucking Kate Winslet on the Titanic style, just screaming at the fucking sea. Screaming at the fucking sea. And I'd got everything set up. And he knew that I was filming stuff, but he did not give a flying fuck. He just come up here and started shouting at the sea. Yep. So as a New Year's resolution, I'm going to try and be more positive. I'm guessing that's possibly not going to work. I'm not going to wish anybody an Happy New Year because it's 5th of January. And for all you that have set New Year's resolutions, what are you doing setting New Year's resolutions on January 1st? Just start them any day of year. And don't tell everybody that you've got a New Year's resolution on Facebook. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a flying fuck, so just stop doing it. Anyway, positive thinking. So in today's episode, the fella that's on today is a bloke I met on Facebook. And there's a Facebook page that I'm a member of called Solitary Cycling, which, if you translate it into Yorkshire, it's cycling for the miserable bastards. You know, people that go cycling by themselves, they don't want to cycle with anybody, don't want to talk to anybody, they just want to go out, be left alone and cycle. And that to me is heaven. It's fucking heaven. Now when I did the Tokyo Cannonball in August, I posted it on that page and he hit me up to see what the route was. So I put him onto my Strava and he started following us on Strava. So he got the route from that. Now, I've been wanting to get him on podcast for a while because he lives in Japan as well. He lives up west of Tokyo. And I've got him on today. And he wasn't a miserable bastard, which I thought it would be. I thought all people on that page would be. He's from Yorkshire, like me. And I found one. I found somebody from Yorkshire that ain't a miserable fuck, that don't want to be left alone. And they were nice. So here's this podcast, episode whatever. Enjoy
so
it.
when you first came here, what, 20 years, so what's that, 2003?
I actually came first in 2001. It's 2001, September the 13th. 14th, was it? 14th. 3 days after the Twin Towers bombing.
Really?
So security was tight as a.
Fuck. So when
very, very, very tight.
So you'd have been here for World Cup then, wouldn't you?
I was, yeah.
And did you
my face painted going down with the wife down to what is it, the hub in Kitchy, Georgia, I think it was.
So did you move here straight from England, or were you somewhere before?
No, it's from England.
Yeah.
Straight from the UK.
And straight here, and straight to Achioji?
Straight to Tachikawa, yeah.
Tachikawa, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's only because she's my wife now. At the time, she was my fiancée. But this is where she was living.
Right.
And working. Well, no, she wasn't working. She was living here. And I came over. I didn't actually live with her to start with. I lived in some place further out on the Sabre line somewhere.
Further out than Tachikawa?
Yeah. Further out than Tachikawa,
Jesus
believe
Christ.
it or not. But still in Tokyo. Yeah, in a crappy, what do they call them? Guest house.
Shared house, yeah. Gaijin house.
Yeah. And I stayed there for a few months. I tried to stay with her in an apartment, but her apartment caretaker was a bitch.
You can swear. You can swear.
She was a bitch.
Yeah.
She didn't. She saw me on the what do you call it, the
CCTV.
camera, the security cameras.
Yeah.
And after a week of being there, she kicked me out. She said, "You get out. You can't stay here. This is for one person only."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had to get into a guest house, get myself settled, and then we stayed there for a couple of months, freezing my bollocks off because it was winter and it was a real, I wouldn't say a real shithole, but it was cold in that house. It was cold. I had nothing with me, so.
And you'd have been out by mountains there, wouldn't you, if you're away?
It wasn't that far out. Not that far out. I mean, yeah, you can see them. You can see them pretty well, but it's not right in the mountains.
Were you up by Tachikawa then, yeah?
No, we're further down. No, you're going the wrong way from Hachioji. We're closer. Tachikawa's closer to the city.
Right, okay.
Closer to the centre than Takao. Takao's like on the other side of Hachioji.
Yeah.
But, so I was up in that place. I forgot what it's called. Fujimidai, but something like that. Near Shakuji Koen. I was up there. You won't know. It's a small commuter belt town.
See, I think everybody starts, don't they, in that shared house thing. I started off. I did pretty lucky compared to what you started with. I started off in Koenji.
Oh yeah.
So I was in a shared house then, but it were dirty and it were horrible. But I sort of stayed there for a year until I got myself on my feet, and then I found something else in close to Shibuya.
Yeah.
But I lived in the city for a couple of years, and then I left and went back to Europe. I went back to Spain. But yeah, coming back, I said to my wife, we can't live in the city. Not now we've got kids. No. So that's why we moved down to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's much better down here.
Oh God. Yeah. I mean, I go down there every now and then, actually. My wife and I, before we had kids, we often used to go down to Enoshima, Kamakura, that area. The Shonan, because we love it down there. But my wife's also very worried about tsunami, the tidal waves and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And also my work is up in the north part of Tokyo, right close to Saitama.
Right.
So it would be far too bloody far to go every day.
But I mean, it is. I mean, I don't even take a train anymore. I always cycle to work.
Oh yeah, me too.
And I mean,
since I got a bike, I took the train for the first 6 months, I think, whilst I was getting settled in. Once I found a bike, I got a bike off some guy who was leaving actually.
Yeah.
A mountain bike. I'm not going to say it's a crappy mountain bike, but it was a mountain bike.
If it's for free, it can't be crap.
It wasn't for free either. He charged me for it. And he was selling two, and I wanted the good one.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh no, I've already promised that one to somebody else." I said, "Oh, you bastard."
So where do you come from in UK?
Pretty close to where you're from, actually. You won't tell because my accent's changed a lot, but
you see,
I'm actually. Where do you think?
Well, it has to be North Yorkshire because you've got a bit of posh about you, haven't you?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. York. Basically, I'm York.
Yeah?
York. I'm a York lad. North Yorkshire. I wasn't actually born in North Yorkshire. I was born in Tyneside, in Stockton-on-Tees.
Yep.
Which in the day was actually Cleveland. But
it's
not Cleveland anymore. It's now part of Tyneside. Middlesbrough.
So why did you decide to leave York?
Why not?
Well, I can't understand it myself because I'm from Bradford. It's probably one of the worst cities in Yorkshire because it's fucking horrible. Everybody that doesn't know about it, you tell them and they don't believe you, and everybody you tell who knows it, their immediate answer is,
yeah.
And I left in 2001, but I didn't come straight here. But after riots, see ya.
Yeah. No, why did I leave York? I left York. I actually left York when I went to university.
Yeah.
I'd had enough. Actually, first time I left York was before I went to university. I finished school, and I didn't want to go to university straight away, so I took a year out, and I worked abroad for half the year. I worked in Davos in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah, through the ski season there in the hotel, which was fucking ace fun.
Yeah.
It was great. You're up early, work, you go skiing in the afternoon, and then you're back to work in the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends you don't do any skiing because the place is just too fucking crowded anyway.
Yeah.
So you just end up relaxing on the weekend, and you get all your skiing during the week. It's actually great fun. But I didn't save much.
Well, it's not a cheap place. It's not a cheap place, Switzerland, is it?
No, the problem was I wanted to bring my skis and shit back, and I'd been made friends with this kind of travel operator out there, and he promised me these cheap flights back. Yeah, I'll get you the cheapest flights back. Yeah. Done deal. So yeah, I did it. Turned up at the airport, and they said, "Yeah, you got this shit cheap ticket. You can only take 15 kilograms of stuff on your plane." I was like, "You're fucking joking me." They said, "No, you have to go and use the cargo over there. It shuts in 20 minutes." I said, "Fuck off." They said, "Yeah." So I did. I spent all the cash I had in my hand dumping my stuff on cargo, getting it delivered by cargo, and that was it. Well, great. All the savings I had from
just
working 6 months in Switzerland.
All chewed up, really.
Yeah.
Did you use them skis again?
No, fucking didn't either. That's the ironic thing.
Yeah.
You have these great plans, don't you?
Yeah.
Got some good skis, got good boots, great,
Yeah.
I'll use them. Never had the opportunity to use
Never
them
use
again.
them again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it?
So then after uni, did you just get gone, or did you stay in UK?
No, I was, let's see, I was in London for university, of which 1 year of that actually took another gap year during university, and came to Japan for a year. That was my first long stay in Japan.
Yeah.
1 year. I was up in Sendai, supposed to be on an exchange program, but it was crap. It was, I ended up just enjoying the scholarship, living cheap, and saving lots of money and studying by myself, because it wasn't set up for intermediate people. It was set up for either Chinese people who were just like blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
or for Americans who were like, "Hey, dude,
Yeah.
yo, konnichiwa,"
Yeah.
kind of really slow stuff. And I'm like in the middle of there going, "Is there a lesson, something for me at this university?" And they're like, "No."
Really?
So I said, "Right, I'm not turning up to anything.
Yeah.
I'm just going to study myself and enjoy life." And I did. I learned probably a lot more as well by doing it that way.
What was Sendai? Because I've never been up to Sendai. Is it just a small?
No, it's one of the biggest cities up north. It's like if you compared London and York, yeah?
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like Tokyo, and then Sendai is like 200 mile north.
Right.
That same kind of distance and
Yeah.
the same kind of size,
Yeah.
comparatively, yeah?
Right.
It's like the last big city up north before you get to, well, you get Morioka above it. But it's like the last biggest city. It's pretty historical. You know, there's a very famous daimyo is up there, Date Masamune.
Yeah.
And stuff. So there's castles. So it's a historical town as well. Yeah.
So
And it of course got absolutely battered by the earthquake and tsunami back in 2011.
yeah, that flood just came rolling in, didn't it, to airport?
Yeah. So I was in contact with the few people I still had contact with up there, and that was just absolutely shocking.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go up to help, but you can't get out, and I've got work, and yeah.
So when you came back,
I'm going to take this off. I'm getting hot here.
well, it is, isn't it? It's January, but sun's out.
Yeah. Well, you're in a pretty bright area. You must be south facing as well, then.
Yeah. Well, I'm in our bedroom now because I thought I've let the kids stay up because it's winter holidays, and because I'm going to bed because I'm up early doors. I'm going to bed at 9, and I don't know what time they're going to bed, but they're still in bed now. So I'm gonna because school starts next week. So I'm gonna have So I'm gonna have to
Kick them
get.
up because they're not going to get to school next week
Yeah.
if they stay
Well,
like that.
I think this weekend I'm gonna have to wean them onto decent bedtimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you came back, got married, and then decided to live in Tachikawa.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So your work's close to where you live?
What's close? It's not next door. It's my cycle route every morning is 20 kilometres.
There and back?
There.
There. Oh, so you're doing 40 a day?
I'm doing 40, 50 a day. I do a
Wow.
slightly longer route on the way back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I would go direct, I can do it in 17, but that's boring.
Yeah.
I go on a kind of more of a picturesque route. Yeah. So, in relative terms, is that close? It's better than going down to Shinjuku or somewhere in the centre of Tokyo to do a job.
Well, if you were having to get on the train, would you have to go into Tokyo first and go there?
No, but it's a pain up the ass. This is one
Yeah.
of the reasons why I
Yeah.
cycle it anyway. When I first started the job, I was actually living in Tachikawa.
Yeah.
It's just one stop down. But going to where I work, which is up in Kiyose, there's no direct line. You got to take, let's say I had to go on the Ome line to Tachikawa, change at Tachikawa, go on the Chuo line to Nishikokubunji, change at Nishikokubunji on the Musashino line, go up to Shinakitsu, get off at Shinakitsu, walk to Akitsu station on the Seiba line, get on the train from Akitsu to Kiyose on the Seiba line, and then get a bus 20 minutes down the road down to where I was working.
So that's 4 trains and a bus just for 17 kilometres.
Yeah.
You see, that's what people think about Japan. They see all this efficiency with the trains, but when you've got to go from one place to another, it's just quicker to just get yourself on a bike.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, the trains themselves are wonderfully efficient.
Yeah.
But it's spiral.
Yeah.
It's all like spokes on a wheel. There's none of the north-south movement. That's what it lacks massively. Yeah. Everything is to pull people right from the outside in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or to take them out.
Yeah.
It's not to move them around. And that's where it kind of like I mean, there are places you can go. Like, there are like Sabre lines that go, but they're further out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing with me, when I tell people, I mean, my commute is 13 kilometres one way. But when you tell people that you cycle to work and it's 13 kilometres, they look at you as if you've just fallen out of a tree. But I'm the same as you. It takes me 10 minutes to walk to the station. I get on a train for one stop. I change at Kamakura. I get onto electric Enoden line. That then drops me off at a station which is a 15-minute walk from work. So by the time you've added all that up, it's quicker just to go on my bike.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the people who listen to this or watch this, you get paid your train fare, don't you?
Yeah.
So especially because that Enoden line is so fucking expensive. So every 6 months, I'm getting an extra 80,000 yen.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I mean, mine works out close to, on a full month. If I get the full month, it's about 20,000.
Yeah.
A month.
But that's money. Yeah. That's money for your bike repairs and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's what I put it into. And the place where I work, which I'll tell more about the details later, but where I work, the guy there says, he's like, well, I'll give you the money. If you're going to cycle, I'll quite happily give you the money because you're doing something really good, ecological, sound stuff, so you can keep the money. But if you decide to use a car, you don't get the money.
Really?
Yeah. So in the old days when I used to have a car and I used to have to take loads of stuff up, so I'd dump it in the car and I'd take it up, you'd say, right, you don't get the money for that day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Even although you're doing him a favour?
Yeah. And the previous work, before I went solo, my first it's actually the second company I worked with, they were like the same thing. They were like, we want you to stop cycling. So we're not going to give you your money until you if you keep using a bike, we're not giving you a train fare.
What were they thinking about that?
Their theory, I guess, their logic was that because I was, to them, a pretty valuable commodity, they didn't want me to get into any accidents, have any problems.
Yeah.
So in order to, let's say, keep me in the safest area, it's best for me to take trains and buses every day.
But that, you see, that doesn't keep you in the best of health, does it?
No, it doesn't. No. And especially mental health.
Yeah.
You know, doing that crappy commute every day, changing so many times, sometimes onto very busy trains. Some of them weren't so busy, but some of them were. And it's just like, it's draining doing that kind of stuff day in, day out. Whereas when you're on a bike, I mean, you got the fresh air. Yeah, you got shitty drivers every now and then, but there's not
as many as you come into contact with in UK.
No, God no. Compared to when I used to cycle around London during my university years, this is like, it's utopia.
Yeah.
Even if you cycle to the centre, I don't know if you've ever cycled. You probably cycle in the centre of Tokyo.
Yeah.
But it's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy.
It is. And it's probably got a lot better since I last lived there, which were over 15 years ago.
Probably, yeah.
But I find cycling, because I work with a couple of fucking knobheads. But I find that cycling to work and getting that 40-45 minutes just gets me into work on an even keel. And then if these two start playing up, I'm just like, you do what you do, you know?
Yeah.
And then coming home from work, if I have allowed myself to get annoyed, I'm not taking it out on kids or wife, you know, because I'm back.
Oh yeah.
I'm back to on an even keel again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It does help you get the stress out.
Yeah, but like you say, when I worked in York when I lived here, you're thinking, right, I'll get on that train, I'll set off a bit earlier, and then you find yourself walking a little bit quicker to train, so you'll get yourself a seat. And even though the carriages started empty in Zushi, and I was always going to get a seat, whatever, I would always had that anxiety of not getting a seat, and I thought, fuck it, what am I doing? What am I doing? But like you say, and you get on that train in June, in rainy season, your feet are wet, you look around, everybody's wet, the condensation on wind is like, this is a terrible way to start your day.
The towels and that.
Yeah.
It's even worse now that everyone has to wear a mask all the time. Must be terrible.
But are you able to get, well, obviously you get changed at work, but you can just sort yourself out work in summer as well then,
yeah? There's no shower facilities or anything daft like that, but I have my change of clothes there. I don't cycle in my work clothes.
No,
that's all. I have my cycling gear.
Yeah.
Look pro, go slow kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I cycle in proper cycling gear, strip it off, and like winter time, there's probably not that much sweat. But anyway, I have the hand towel things, you know, the little wet wipes.
Top to bottom in summer before
Oh God, summer, it's just like fan on.
Yeah.
I'm just going under the fan, cooling under the fan for 10 minutes first. Problem is, in summer, you drink, don't you? Water. And you put it in you. So when I get to work, I drink water, and it just comes out again.
Yeah, straight out.
So you've got to drink more, and it just comes out again. And it's just like, how many towels do I go through here? Yeah. But I think I keep myself reasonably fresh enough, and I'm pretty lucky where I am. Well, the work, I'm not working with adults in an office, so I'm working in an open environment. I'm working basically kindergarten with kids, so they don't complain about the stench if there is any. I don't think I stink. To be honest, I think I do wipe it all off pretty well. My gear sometimes stinks.
Yeah.
No, that I do admit.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be laundered on a regular basis in the summer.
Yeah, but the worst thing is, like, if you get it wet, like let's say a horrible wintry wet day, and it's a little bit, you got wet, and you hang it up to dry, but there's no sunshine.
Yeah.
It's great when the sunshine, because it just blasts it and kills everything on it.
Yeah.
But when there's no sunshine and you try and get this thing dried, and it starts to
Yeah.
Especially the older ones that you've been wearing for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, even I put it
But getting back in that wet gear at the end of the day, you know, and it's still wet, that's the worst.
That's fucking horrible. That is.
Because I've started getting the newspaper at work and jamming it in my shoes to dry it, because that's how my grandma used to do it.
Yeah, I've been doing that ever since day one.
Yeah, and
anytime they get wet,
they look at you as if where have you got this from? I learnt this from my grandma. So
I remember the first time I did that, actually, at the school I was at. One day I got wet, and I didn't. In those days, I didn't have a newspaper. I didn't have like my own room. I was just living in the locker room.
Yeah.
I went to them in the office and said, "Have you got any newspaper?" And they went, "No, but why?" "Oh, I've got to dry my shoes off." The same thing. They're looking at what?
Yeah.
What? No, I want a stuffed newspaper in my shoes to dry them off. And they're like, "Oh, really? Yeah, really."
I've seen other people start doing it now. Now they've seen me do it. Other people have started doing it.
Start the trend.
So are you just? What time do you start in the morning?
Around 9ish.
So what?
Basically.
So out of the house at 8.
I'm out of the house just before 8 most mornings.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I feel like doing something a bit longer, I'll go a little bit earlier. But generally, around 8ish, just before 8ish. Some days, I might have a lesson that starts really early, so I have to get to school a little bit early. Event days when they won't be there early to start set things up. I might be out at 7, half 6, 7. They're few and far between.
And then back home.
So basically out at 8, and I'm back in. Depending on the day, but the latest I'll come back is about 8 o'clock at night. That's
really?
Because I have to go shopping.
Right. Okay.
Afterwards. Yeah, I teach generally till 6, and then you got to tidy up. Then I got to cycle back. Then I got to do the shopping and get back home. So generally, the longest day will be I leave just before 8 and I come back around 8.
Jesus, 8 till 6 is a long day, isn't it?
Well, the teaching hours, it's 9 till 6, isn't it?
Yeah.
Work hours, and it's a long day. It's a long day, but it's a job.
I just do I do the 8:20 till 4 o'clock, and then I do my own stuff at night. So I am working a bit longer, but it's mostly my own stuff that I've found for myself. Yeah. Do a lot of that, because I think if just having that one job would kill me. It's not enough. It's not enough money. So I've got to pick up this extra work, and then I do the wedding gig on the weekend. Do a lot of that. It's great. I mean, I enjoy it. It's a great job, and it's all round here. It's all round here.
Yeah.
So everything everywhere I work is all on the coast. Everything's a bike ride away, and the furthest I'll go is Chigasaki, which is an hour. But I mean it's neither here nor there. But I mean I think I've got to pick up this extra work, because especially with 2 kids, you just can't afford to just have the one job.
No. No, I understand. I mean, I'm in a different position to you.
Yeah.
I learned after 4 years of working with shitheads and people who just wanted to use you and abuse you and steal from you if they could. I went independent.
Yeah.
And I stole customers from my previous company. Because they were happy to move because they were sick of the attitude of the company I was with.
Yeah, I did a
lot.
So
I set up my own company back in 2006. I think it was. March 2006 it would be. Yeah, because that's 17 years now. I actually run my own company. Though I have contracts with people, and I go and work in other places, and I have another teacher in another school somewhere. So I don't need an extra job.
Yeah.
I have more than enough work because I don't outsource anything. I do everything myself.
Do it all yourself.
I do. Yeah, I wash all my own laundry. I do all my accounting, all the preparation materials, all the taxes, buying of materials, anything. I do all the letter writing, all the phone calls, all the emailing to parents.
Yeah.
You name it, whatever's involved with running a language school through a kindergarten, that I do absolutely everything myself. So when I say I come home at 8 o'clock, my workday has not finished yet.
Yeah.
Because on those busiest days where I'm teaching all day, I have no time to email parents. If somebody emails me and says, "Oh, I want to do a makeup lesson," or "Oh, I want to talk to you about this," and blah blah that. "Oh, I'm interested in joining the classes." I've got to do that in the evening. Yeah, and I've got to prepare things in the evening. So my evenings generally get chewed up with they're only little things, but little things add up over a couple of days, don't they?
Well, I'm probably in the middle of that with me, because I'm sort of like 50-50 at the moment. But I don't know if I want to go full self-employed, because it is a good salary and a lot of good holidays. I mean, because you're working for yourself now, I suppose you're not getting paid. Are you getting paid now? Being off?
I'm getting paid.
Yeah. The holidays
I've worked it out. It's all worked out that there is enough money coming in. So even in the summer, even in August, when there's generally no teaching, like from the end of July through to the last week of August, there's no teaching, but the money works out throughout the whole year that I can afford to still pay me, my other teachers, their wages throughout August without having to do stupid summer camps.
Yeah.
And like my previous companies used to have to do. Yeah, I used to have friends who said, "Can you come and help at my summer camp?" So I'd gladly go and help for a couple of days.
Yeah.
That was fun. But I would never organise summer camps myself, because they're not financially viable. They're a pain up the ass. They might be fun at times.
Yeah.
But it's an awful lot of work, and I've already had enough work. August is my rest time.
You need that rest, don't you? That August.
Yeah.
I love August. And I love it here. Because we're from north of England, I still appreciate a sunny day. No matter how sweaty it is. I still appreciate, because it was just opening the curtains in the morning before you went to school. Oh, it's grey and it's pissing it down again. So even any sort of sunny day, I appreciate the hell out of.
Do you appreciate the four seasons more here than you used to do back in Yorkshire?
Yeah, because it were always raining, so you didn't.
Yeah, that's right. Well, in our childhood, I think it's changed now thanks to global warming and all that kind of shit. But we went to school in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm 51.
Yeah, late 70s. You're what?
51.
You're 51, so you're a couple of years ahead of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be 50 this year. But. So around the same time. So going to school during the 80s. Winter time was you get up, it's dark.
Yeah.
You go into school, it's dark. You do lessons, it's light outside. You get to play outside at break time.
Yeah.
You finish at 3 o'clock or whatever it is, 3:30. It's dark again.
Yeah. By the time you get home, lights are on. Street lights are on. Yeah.
And it's like, and that's winter. And then the summer. I mean, in the summer, the days are long, but you weren't guaranteed great weather, were they? I mean,
no.
in our day, 20 degrees was a boiling day.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had 20, it was like, fuck it now.
Yeah.
That's hot.
T-shirts off.
Let alone 25.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. T-shirt weather was like 12. If you got to 12, 15, you had T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, even as I wouldn't even say I would have been 6 or 7 looking out my bedroom window and thinking, why do fucking people live here? And then I said to myself, when I get older, I'm going to go live somewhere that's sunny and warm. And ever since I've left home, I've always lived in countries that are sunny and warm. I cannot stand the cold. I mean, I hate winter, and it's winter now here, and it's a little bit cold, but you've got the blue skies and it's sunny, so it's bearable.
Oh, this is not winter.
Yeah. But not, yeah.
So somebody from Yorkshire, this is not winter.
No.
This is like spring.
Yeah. But it still pisses me off because it's cold. I don't like cold either. But it's not cold. Do you know what I mean?
Cold. No, if you want cold, go up north.
Yeah, because we've got used to
You've been
it.
up north plenty of times, you have.
Yeah, because we've got used to it. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back, I usually go back with kids in July or August, and Bradford is kind of bearable then because you will get a few sunny days and it's warm, but spending a winter there again would. Oh.
It doesn't help that it's a pretty depressing looking town as it is anyway.
Yeah, and I mean,
you put dull, crappy weather on top of that.
Me and my friends in the 90s, going into the early 2000s before I left, on a Friday we used to get on M62 and go and watch gigs all along the M62 corridor and that A1 corridor, and we'd go up to York. Saw Shed 7 a few times in York at the Barbican, is that right?
Barbican, yeah.
Yeah. And you'd be walking around York going, fucking hell, this is great. And then Manchester, Chester, Sheffield, and and even Leeds, everything just seemed to be fucking better than Bradford.
Better than Bradford.
Everything, every city.
I mean, I have limited knowledge of Bradford. I mean, I went through a number of times. My dad used to work in Leeds, and some of my grandparents' family from West Yorkshire, but Bradford, Sorry, my memories are from the 80s when we drive through in the car.
Yeah.
And it was just a shithole then.
Yeah.
Sorry, doesn't. I mean, like some of the back end villages of York with the council estates were pretty much on par with that.
I mean, and what would that be? What village would that be around York?
But if you like, we used to live in a place called Skelton, up on the A19 out York, north of York, about 5 miles out, and the newly built area was nice, and the historical area is really nice. But there's this place at the back called Brexfield. Now, I don't know what it's like now, but when I lived there, it was where you don't go if you came from the newer side of Skelton, because you're guaranteed to get your face kicked in.
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't the place to go.
Wow.
And I got myself into a bit of an altercation once when I was there.
Yeah.
And I being young and ignorant, I cycle through here. Oh, this is great. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, you get enveloped by 20 kids who just want to spit on you and push you off your bike.
Yeah.
And prod you. And I was only, I would have been 8 to 10 years old at that point.
Yeah.
Pissing in my pants because I've got all these kids going, you fucking posh kid from the fucking posh side of fucking Skelton, fucking posh village idiot, whatever. And there's other places down back of Clifton, Water Lane, that area. It's a shithole.
See, I had a good friend that lived in York, Giles, and he lived on Lehman Road by Train Museum, and he was saying to me, it's rough round here. Well, not really.
Not compared to some other places in York. No.
But he was said that would be the lower working class end.
Yeah, the further back you go from the main roads, you get into the shitty areas.
Yeah. And
that's where, I don't want to say the vile people live, but those who are just intent on making everybody else's life hell live. And they come out onto the main road and start throwing things at you. There's an Odeon's cinema pretty close to the station on that Lehman Road area.
Yeah.
I think it's Lehman Road. Anyway, it's on the main road, leads into York by Monk Bar. And there's an old Odeon cinema there. Went in there with my little brother one day. My dad dropped us off. We went in to watch a film. Came out, and we're waiting for my dad to pick us up. And whilst we're there, again, a group of like 5 or 6 yobbos, I guess you call them, just started picking on us.
Really?
Yeah, just for no reason. We just stood there. And they're just like throwing things at bits of old cartons, food wrappers from McDonald's or something.
And
like
that's just while you're waiting for your father to pick you up.
Just waiting for And as soon as my dad turns up in the car, fucking Scarpa.
Yeah.
And I tell my dad, right round the corner, chasing them. And of course they know all the little snickets and stuff down the back there, so they disappear, don't they?
You see, I think going up to York to watch these gigs in York, I think being a group of maybe 20 from Bradford, they all seemed really friendly. But I think you know, people from Bradford going to York, I think people in York would think, oh, no, let's not mess about with these lots. So we always, never any trouble. People seem
Right.
very friendly,
Yeah.
you know. But I suppose it's different when you live there, isn't it?
It is.
It's a lot different
And,
when you live there.
yeah, I don't know if you've ever been drinking in York, but one of the reasons I stopped drinking in York is that it gets extremely violent.
Yeah.
And dangerous. It may be a little bit better now, I don't know. But
There's all those
York,
pubs down Bit River, isn't there?
there's loads, there's loads
Yeah.
everywhere. York is just full of them. I mean, York has like the highest concentration of pubs, I think, in anywhere in the UK per for that mileage kind of thing. And back in those days, you wouldn't go through on Friday, Saturday, even a Sunday, without seeing fights.
Yeah. It's
somewhere. You knew which ones that you wouldn't go into. You knew which ones you would go into. You know where, I'm not going down that street tonight, not going near the Lindell Cellars tonight because I know what it's like. I'm going to take the long way around.
But you can pick any city really in England, can't you? At a certain time on a Friday and a Saturday night, and it's going to be kicking off.
Yeah, there will always be something like that. And God knows what it's like now. I mean, this is before 24-hour drinking. This is when people used to neck as much as they could before 11 o'clock.
Before closing time, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Before bell went.
But nowadays, with them open all day and stuff.
So, being in York when you were growing up as a kid, were you getting a lot of cycling in round York, or did you only start cycling when you got here?
No. I always enjoyed cycling. I lived in a little village called, we had Skelton, but I wasn't really cycling then. When we moved to Cotmanthorpe, which is on the A64 going out to Leeds, we lived in a village called Cotmanthorpe, and that had really good access out to lots of little villages nearby.
Yeah.
And there was actually a cycle road from Bishopthorpe down to Selby, an actual proper cycling track. I think it's owned by the Sustrans now, I think it is.
So it's pretty flat round there, isn't it?
It's not too hilly, no. It's not too bad. It's not like going up, if you went up to the Hambleton Hills or up to Thirsk, up north that way, then you'd be starting to get into like the more hilly area. But when I was younger, it was an adventure just going from Cotmanthorpe up to Tadcaster. That was a 5-mile run and back. And when you're 12, 13, you think, I've done 10 miles today. That's bloody great.
Yeah.
This is in the days before computers, cycle computers and that, before anybody cared. We just cycled for fun. I would go to all the villages around there: Bilborough, Askham Bryan, Askham Richard, down the river, all those kind of places. I just on a Sunday, I'd just say, right, I'm off for a bike ride.
And you'd just be gone, and then you'd be back at night, wouldn't you?
And then I'd come back for dinner time.
Yeah.
And I just, there was no racing, there was no gear. It was just me on a bike, pedaling away. Sometimes a friend would go with me, or we'd go off down to one of you find a wood and go off adventuring in the wood, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
See what you could pick up in the wood.
Yeah, I used to do that all the time because my mum and dad had a caravan up in Dales, Grassington, and I used to cycle from Bradford to Grassington, and that were 30 mile. But it was so fucking boring up there that I used to cycle home. So that'd be a good cycle for me. But as soon as I would wake up, especially in 6 weeks holidays, I'd be out on bike and just gone all day. And you didn't realise how much that did for your health as a kid, because running at school I were always a good runner because I were always on my bike, and now nobody seems to be doing that in the UK. None of my friends' kids are out cycling.
No,
I think because the parents are shitting themselves, to be honest.
This started a long time ago.
Yeah. About
don't let your kids play outside, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, not if you keep a fucking eye on them, man.
No.
You got to let them. When they say don't let your kids play outside, maybe the meaning don't let your kids go wandering off 3 mile down the road to a park. Get them playing in the cul-de-sac. We always played in the cul-de-sac.
But I think being brought up by boomers, they would just my parents would just be like, go on, off you go.
it's naturally we were expected to get out the fucking house.
Yeah.
It wasn't put to us like that. No.
Yeah.
Let's just go out and play.
Yeah.
Go on, off with you. Go out and play.
But
And so we did.
does it. Here, I mean, have you got kids?
Yeah, I got 2.
Right. So here is safe, and
Yeah.
I'm not bothered at all about the kids wandering off here at all. But I don't know about England. I don't know if it's just been put in the head this stress and anxiety about somebody nicking your kids in the UK. But here, not bothered. How old are your kids?
I mean, there's always something underlying in the UK. There's always that underlying danger.
Yeah.
That was part of the fun of going out. So,
Yeah.
you know, I've mentioned a couple of times when I'd go off to the wrong area of the village.
Yeah.
Yeah, and somebody would start picking on you. Yeah, that was always there. You might get picked on, bullied a little bit, but to get kidnapped or, you know, worse was a pretty rare event. But I think with the birth of, you know, I guess so many more things happening to children historically by responsible adults, I think people have gone pretty much the wrong way.
I think we're just finding out more about it. I think it's just the same. We're just finding out more about it.
We know more. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So my parents wouldn't be worried if I were away cycling all day.
No.
So when would you say? How old were you when you did your first big ride then?
My first big ride. I'm a late bloomer.
Really?
I've always been a commuter.
Yeah.
Not a big rider. Yeah. So apart, you know, when I was around York, when I was at school, you know, do the weekends when they let me start cycling to school. I would cycle to school. After I finished school and worked in a factory north of York, of course, I was an adult then, so they'd let me go off.
Yeah.
They had no fucking choice. I wasn't taking the car. I would cycle that, and that was a bit further, but there was no massive, long, you know, 100-milers or anything like that for me in those days. When I moved to London, it's just, again, commuting.
Yeah.
And once I started in Japan, just commute. So I've been a lifelong commuter, basically, commuting by bike. But how many years ago now? I guess when my kids were a little bit younger, maybe about 10, 12 years ago, I would start going out every now and then. Maybe more than that. No, it doesn't matter. I'd start going out every now and then, and you know, 30 kilometers one day would become 50. The next 50 would become 75. 75 would become eventually, you know, a couple of times a year I'd do 100.
Yeah.
So as I said, I'm very late to the long ride experience. I put lots of miles in every day, but that's because when you're commuting every day, you know, 40 odd kilometers, you put the miles in.
But that's like a nothing for us now, is it? 40 kilometers. You don't really think of it, do you? But when
I never think of it.
When you mention it to other people, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then you just see the reaction when I tell them, you know, this year I did 12,500 kilometers.
Yeah.
They're like, fucking get out of here.
But you think in your head you could have done more, couldn't you?
I know I could have done more.
Yeah.
But would I want to do more? Maybe I didn't. You know, you know, circumstances. Yeah, if I have the opportunity to go out and do a long ride, I'll go out and do one. But there's so much going on, and with having done, when you do so many miles every day, sometimes you're just like, nah.
Yeah.
I've got one day off this weekend.
Yeah.
Am I going to spend it out the house, away from the family, on a 10-hour ride? No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I am. Sometimes I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, I had those 4 spare days, and my wife just said to me, "You get yourself away, and I'll see you at my mum's house on New Year's Eve." So I just tried to see how far I could go, and I've fucked myself. I've found my limit. That's what I would have to do. I would have to finding what I could actually do, and I've found my limit because my fucking tendons and my Achilles have swollen up so much.
Really?
Going downstairs, I'm walking like an 80-year-old. It's a nightmare.
I
But
shouldn't laugh, but I know that kind of pain. I've had it. But,
yeah, but I've done it, and I know I can do it. But Jesus Christ, I wouldn't recommend it. I'm spending
I
about
couldn't believe it when I saw the first one.
yeah.
I thought, first off, actually, I've got to tell you, I thought you'd gone back home. Because you remember you said you were going to be out of town
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah,
I thought, all right, fine. And then on my YouTube feed, this one of your podcast said back home in Yorkshire. It just flashed up.
that was because we were sat in Yorkshire part of the hub.
The Yorkshire corner of the bar, but I didn't see that small bit. I just saw back in Yorkshire. I thought, oh, he buggered off back up. That's what he meant by out of town. He buggered off back to York, fine, or to Yorkshire, fine, great. And then the next day, I see this fucking long ride down to Meerken. I just thought, how the fuck did he get back in time for that? That's weird. That's a waste of a journey back home just to come back to go to. What's he doing? Does he have that much money?
No, fucking don't.
And then I looked on the video, and it said Yorkshire corner of the pub. I thought,
But
that explains it.
I took the train down to Mie, and then I cycled across to Wakayama, and I was supposed to go all the way down to Kyushu, but I got to Wakayama and the kids said, "Oh, I want to watch football with you New Year's Eve, because we're going to come back New Year's Day." So I got to Wakayama. I cycled back the way I came that night, day. So I'd done 100 that way, 100 back, and then I did 2 more. Yeah, so I went to Hamamatsu the next day, and then back to Shizenji the last day, and and then I did 100-mile over 2 days the next coming home. Yeah, but it was 500-mile in 7 days.
A week, basically.
Yeah, and it's fucked me. Well, it's done me Achilles tendons in, and I don't know if it's because my seat, the height of my seat. But that's the only thing that's bothering me, which is not bad for a fella. Well, you say you don't feel like you're 51 years old, but you know, a normal 51-year-old. Because if you think when we were kids, you'd look at a 51-year-old and go, well, he's fucking not long for this world.
Fucking dinosaur.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. In our days, you saw somebody who's 50 years old, you thought, bloody hell, they're well over the hill, and and they looked more decrepit than we do now. Yeah. Yeah. I
think just folk didn't know how to look after themselves. Everybody smoked when I was a kid. Yeah. Everybody. Yeah. You know, I think my father was one of the few people I knew that didn't smoke. My mother smoked, and I used to upper school. The teacher would be smoking in class.
In class,
yeah. Mr. Sherry, right. he would be having a cig while they were teaching history. I don't know if that happened in York, but it definitely happened in Bradford.
No, not in our school. They knew who smoked though, because they'd come in from having a fag break. Yeah, and you could smell it. My parents smoked up till I think my youngest brother was born, or just after.
Did your mum smoke through pregnancy?
That I can't remember.
I know a few of my friends, possibly. Their mothers just carried on regardless.
Possibly. I remember my mum used to smoke Sant Murrets. I remember going to buy them for my dad in the days when kids were allowed to buy them. Yeah. Or go and get your mum your cigs. A cigs for you. And my dad, he eventually went on to cigars and would smoke mannequin cigars. I remember buying those from him as well. Yeah, but then they gave up. They completely stopped. And alcohol as well.
Players number 6 I had to go out and buy.
Players, yeah.
And if it were dusk time, I was sent out because my mother were worried about Ripper. So as a 7-year-old, I was sent to the shop to buy my mum's cigs because Yorkshire Ripper were running amok round Bradford. So that's why I was sent out to buy cigs.
Oh. That kind of logic wouldn't work nowadays, would it? No. I mean, kids can't buy cigarettes anyway, but there's a murderer out on the loose, I'll just send my kid out.
Because he's not murdering you lads.
Yeah, no, that's true, he wasn't.
But yeah, I've said it many times before. When I were first born, he were 4 years old, he were already doing it. So I were born in 71, they caught him in 80. So for the first 9 years of my life, the Ripper were running around just killing women. And I thought up to about 7 years old, because of the Yorkshire Ripper, I only thought that women got murdered. I never thought men got murdered. Yeah. And then when they collared him, he were only a couple of miles down the road from where we lived.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's West Yorkshire. It's all in West Yorkshire.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
I mean, you would do? I mean, you're only a year older than me, but were women worried up in York? Do you remember? I wasn't it much of a thing?
No, I mean, it was everywhere, wasn't it? It was all over the news and everything. So, every day you got the Yorkshire Post, and it was something to do with the Ripper was on the cover almost every day for a certain period of time. I mean, it was always there. It was always in the back of your mind, but there was also a lot of other things going on as well. But I think, small town mentality, doesn't it? North Yorkshire, West Yorkshire. Yeah. North Riding, West Riding. Right, leave it up to them.
Yeah.
It's that side. Even though, but at that time we were scouting, so we're a bit further away. But
So how would North Yorkshire people look at folk from West Yorkshire? Because we people from West Yorkshire, we look down at folk from South Yorkshire, but we look to North Yorkshire as the posh ones. And Umberside, it were never East Yorkshire. It was just fucking boring. We're East Yorkshire.
East Riding, God. I think, I mean, I might be wrong, but my recollection would be like a anti-clockwise visualization, north, west, south, east.
Yeah.
Kind of, even though geographically we're right next to East Riding.
Yeah.
You're right, the Umberside lot were like, thought of as, well, I don't want to say dumb as shit because you're going to put this on YouTube, but there was a lot of looking down, I think.
There's nothing interesting about that county. And it's next to Lincolnshire, which is possibly the most boring county in England.
They've got the Umber Bridge.
Which leads out.
Which gets people out.
Yeah.
Hey, Viking FM. I used to listen to Viking FM a lot there.
Yeah.
That were fun.
But
it was a lot better than York, the York Radio York, whatever it was. I've got to say, I did listen to a Hull-based radio station for many years.
So when you take your kids back there, do they like it back there?
They enjoyed the last visit. I mean, our last visit was a long time ago. 8 years ago, just before my dad died.
Yeah.
So that was the last 8-9 years ago now. That was the last visit, and because we would go back so very, very, very rarely. You take them around to all your favourite spots that you used to go to as a kid.
Yeah.
So I mean, they enjoy it because they get doted on. They get the grandparents looking after them. They get to see all these things. They get presents and stuff. How much of it remains in their memories, I don't know. Like flash photos, and we have photos up around to try and keep their interest going a little bit. But
so how come we don't go back so often?
Bloody expensive taking 4 people back.
I know. I used to go. Before pandemic, I was going back every year, and I said to my dad, "I'm staying here for Olympics, which were 20." So last time I went was 2019, and then pandemic kicked off, and now with inflation, it's just horrifically expensive.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll be. I want to go back this year, but I don't know if I can afford it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I was going back by myself, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But being a family guy, you want to take everybody with you.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a hell of a trip. Logistically speaking, it's pretty tough. Okay, you're going to spend the time staying at probably a family member's house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to save money that way. But the problem with international marriages is that every time you go abroad, it seems to be the same 2 places.
Yeah.
You're always going back to England. Or you're always coming to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah? Whereas there's so much more of the world out there. And so I said to my wife many years ago, actually it's after the last UK trip, before my dad died, I said, next time we go abroad, we're going somewhere else.
Mm.
we're not going back to the UK for another holiday in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've been there long enough. I lived there long enough.
Yeah.
Let's go somewhere we haven't been. We've never been to the States. Let's go to the States, or Canada. We've never been to Canada. Let's go to Australia. I've never been to Australia. Okay, she's had a holiday there many, many moons ago. Let's do something different. But then, circumstances, things happen. My dad died, and then kids grow up. They've got too many things on during the summer holidays. You can't find any time. You got your work. Pandemic hits.
Yeah.
And prices go up, and you're trying to balance everything out, and you're working out. So, well, we could go off on a holiday. Well, I think we went to Taiwan once. We went to Taiwan for a family family, and that was great. The kids loved it. I enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, when we get the time and the resources ready for a holiday, there's so much in Japan that you can do as well. There's so many great places to visit in Japan. So we've taken more trips within Japan. Well, this is pre-pandemic, of course. Yeah. Visiting places, going camping, just going off, going to Kyoto and places, just to enjoy more of Japan. And, and for the kids, if we don't take them, they're not going to go by themselves, are they?
Yeah.
So it's their own country, really. Yeah, they're half British, but they're pretty much Japanese.
Yeah, my kids are Japanese. They're not.
So, get them to enjoy Japan. Once if they're ready, if prices come down, if this, which I don't think they ever fucking well, not in my lifetime anyway. If it becomes reasonable and feasible enough to go abroad again, then we will. But I'm certainly not going to rush back to the UK.
No. But
no, all the people, my friends and family who live there, I'd love to see them, but I also want to see somewhere else in the world.
There's just my dad left now. That's the only reason I'm going back. And my mum died in 2020, so I thought, right, my dad will finally come over here because he had to look after my mum. But as soon as... No, I'm not going anywhere. So he's in one of those. So I'm going to have to go. And my wife...
Is there anybody else around there?
Nope.
Like your brothers and sisters?
No, only child.
You're the only child.
Yeah, and my wife's not wasting it. She's been to Bradford a couple of times. She's not wasting her holidays going back there. We were coming back from my mum's residential home one day, and there's a fella, I don't know what he'd been fucking smoking, but he's just in the middle of the road with a blanket, drooling, and the kids are in back with my wife. My dad's in front of the car, and I just said, there's Bradford for you. And just drove around him and carried on.
It would have been funny if you drove past him, stopped the car, opened the door. All right, Les, I'll see you for a while. All right, see ya. Shut the door. But your wife would be going, "Do you know this guy?" No, it's fucking you up.
But he's everywhere. And I was saying, don't come back here. So I think what I'll do is I'll go back in the summer for a couple of weeks, and then we'll go somewhere at Christmas.
Yeah.
But I can't be going back there.
I mean, I just don't. I mean, I don't want to say I don't see the appeal of it. Just, I want to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I do.
Same old. Yeah, well, it's safe. Well, I don't want to say it's safe. It's comforting when you know a place, you know areas.
Yeah.
I could go to London. Yeah, I lived in London for a while, so and I know what it's like there. I lived in obviously around Yorkshire, North York, Yorkshire Moors, and all that kind of area. I know it. I can go there, take them there every time. Hop in the car and know exactly where to drive all the time. Hell, if I go back to the UK, let me take them to Scotland. Let me take them to Wales or something. If I end up going that way.
Yeah.
But there's so many places. They've never been to Europe. All right, let's go to Europe together. Yeah, I've been to Europe plenty of times, but I wouldn't be against going back to Europe or something. But it just seems always to the same places.
Yeah.
Every time. Nostalgia. Oh, great. Yeah, but.
And then when you're going to visit a man in his 80s now, he's always going to the same places. That's it. That's it. That's what you've got to put up with when you want to live abroad.
Well, exactly. Yeah,
and
that's one of the downsides that people don't tell you when you start doing it.
Right then, Charlie. That's an hour. That's
bloody hell. That was quick.
Yeah, tell you, they go quick. They go quick, man.
That was very, very quick.
So what I'll do is I'll sort all this out, and then if ever next time you're down here, just give us a shout, because I will.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be up there for anything.
Well, that's fine. I mean, it's a really nice cycle down.
Yeah, and it's good because you don't meet any other Northerners in this country.
We're few and far between.
Yeah.
I can tell you.
Yeah, there's not many.
Yeah.
There's not many that come and stay. So yeah, it's good to just connect with another Northerner, so I don't have to clip my accent.
Yeah, I remember when I watched the first podcast of yours that I watched, because we'd been on Facebook and Strava, yeah, and then so I didn't know what you sounded like. Clicked on the first podcast, I was just like, oh fucking hell, he's just down the road from where I used to live. Bloody hell, like.
But I don't. I mean, you've lost your accent a little bit, but I refuse to. A lot of I had a few friends that moved to Australia and they've got Australian accents, but I just refuse to do it. And obviously you lose it when you're speaking to Japanese people, but when I'm talking to Australian friends or my Dutch friends, I'll just keep this accent, my accent, you know.
This is probably the most Yorkshire kind of talk I've had in years.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
It was so refreshing. It's great. It's great. I love it. It's I do have a habit though. When I used to, I don't get drunk anymore, but when I used to get drunk, apparently I'd get quite broad.
Yeah.
It would really start coming back to the front.
Yeah.
Really strongly, but no, I keep some of the mannerisms. Like my A's are always short. Or say grass, things like that.
And there's no H's involved.
There's hardly any H's, and I clip my T's.
Yeah.
It's great.
Tit shop. Off tit shop.
Yeah, I'm off that.
Yeah. My kids have got a bit. My kids have got a bit of that. A little bit.
Mine don't pick up on that whatsoever. Yeah, but I always get into trouble because they every now and then they give me their work and say, "Is this right?" And I'd say, "No, you need to do this." And then they come back and say, "You're wrong." I say, no, that's the way I speak. That is right. That's proper English.
Yeah.
It's not Japanese textbook English, so you're fucking wrong.
But good talk, man. Thank you.